What's going on, guys? Your boy X is back. So we're gonna have this conversation like real quick. So the success of it has really, I want to say, has opened the door for lesser known, or can even be better known horror genre television, movies, and video games. Now, particularly how I mentioned video games, we're gonna talk about freaking Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, for those of you who don't know what Five Nights at Freddy is, there's an extended lore to it that I'm not honestly going to go into because it would just take too much time, and this is not an explanation video. This is a discussion about the possibility of this movie. So, if you have not played Five Nights at Freddy's, I recommend you do. Series creator Scott Cawthorn is actually a pretty good writer. I'm not gonna lie. So credit is due. But anyway, so we're gonna talk about the Five Nights at Freddy movie. Now, before I actually go into why I believe what is going to go down with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, is we have to look back. As it stands currently, its 2017 film and its sequel, Chapter 2, are by far the highest selling horror series, and it's the fact that Chapters 1 and 2 has only been put into two different films. Like, you have to understand, people, like, this is not a game. We're done playing games here, like, all jokes aside at least. But anyway, we're gonna get right into it. I think now that it has become a much more, I want to say, bigger thing than what it was back when it was a 1990 miniseries, I feel like the studios around have been watching it closely, and now that they have an idea of what they're going to do, I feel like it's now the perfect time to get back to work with that Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, we're going to talk about how this all started. Warner Brothers had announced in April 2015 that it required rights to the film, right? So Roy Lee, David, I think it's Katzenberg, I hope I didn't butcher his name, and Seth Grahame-Smith were set to produce it. Grahame-Smith stated that he was going to collaborate with Cawthorn to make an insanely terrifying and weirdly adorable movie. Fast forward about a month or two, July 2015, Gil Kenan had signed to direct the adaptation and co-write with Tyler Burton Smith. Now, that was 2015's news. There wasn't any news for about almost 2 years. So back in January of 2017, Cawthorn stated that partially due to problems within the movie industry as a whole, the film was met with several delays and roadblocks, and it was back at square one. He reassured everyone that he would be involved in the movie from day one this time, and that's something extremely important to me. I want this movie to be something that I'm excited for the fan base to see. Okay, so just that overall, that little bit of information he gave, he was actually not active with the producers and the director about the film. So I guess they kind of just fell off on it for the short time that it was. But then again, Cawthorn went on Twitter back in March of 2017, posted a picture of himself at Blumhouse Studios, and then a lot of fans went over to think like, okay, he's prepping, he's got a new film company, maybe we'll get Five Nights at Freddy's next year, in 2018 and shit like that. The speculation continued up until about May the same year, when producer James Blum had actually just sat there and he confirmed it. He was like, yeah, that he says he's excited to work closely with Cawthorn on the adaptation. So they were looking in the right direction. They were definitely heading in the right direction. But like I said, some things just aren't meant to be. And it was June that same year that the director said he was no longer directing the FNAF movie, given as what he called Warner Brothers turnaround. So from that point forward, we got no news of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie for like a good minute. And when I say a good minute, it was the next time they would even speak about it would be in February. when they announced that Chris Columbus would direct and write the film, besides producing it alongside Jason Blum and Scott Cawthon. And then, like I said, they have a pattern. They're developing a pattern where they keep information to themselves for about maybe 6-8 months, depending on how good the information they put out so far. So we didn't get any more news until about August, when Cawthon said that the first draft of the movie script, which involves only the events of the first game, was completed, and there was a second and third movie after. The same month, he went to write on Twitter saying that the movie was aiming for a 2020 release window. Okay, so as you can see just by that, they had intended a trilogy for Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, if you actually think about it, between the announcement in April of 2015 up until February, I take that back. From April of 2015 to August of 2018, that was 3 years that the film had been in development. Now, if you look down the game's timeline, you will actually see that this makes perfect sense, because the first Five Nights at Freddy's came in 2014, and then the second film came in 2014. So basically, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 were released in the same year. And he said that there were 3 movies planned. So Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which takes place in the first and the second game, which came out the same year, and then Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which came out in 2015, which was actually, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was released just a month before the actual announcement for the movie, the live action movie was put out. So it's crazy how now I feel like Pennywise and the rest of the Losers Club have really opened doors for horror movies like this, and I feel like now that it seems like they are getting it together. But like I said, things happen. I'm not really blaming anyone. But in November of last year, Cawthon had announced that the current script for the film had been scrapped, which will contribute to a further delay of the film. Now, it's September, which means that was about almost a year ago. That was almost a year ago that he made that upsetting announcement that Five Nights at Freddy's would be upon further delay. Now, me personally, I feel like Blumhouse Studios is the perfect studio to help develop Five Nights at Freddy's. And me personally, how I would want Five Nights at Freddy's to go is that I wanted to have that same horror atmosphere that both it combined with Get Out had provided. Like that overwhelming sense of unfamiliarity versus the unique jump scare that leads to what can be the character's ultimate death. I feel like it's those two movies are a perfect example of what happens when a studio actually comes together with their writers and directors. So I just wanted to give my 2 cents. I know I haven't really made any commentary videos lately. I've just been focused on finishing games for the summer. It's not hot girl summer, it's hot game summer. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear about Five Nights at Freddy's and how you guys feel like an adaptation of the films and an adaptation would actually do the games justice. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.